Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Boxing. I'm Leti.
I'm LB.
And let's get into the new champion of the world.
How many times?
Twice.
2 times.
So we had Regis Prograis
The Rougarou
out of New Orleans versus Jose Zepeda, born in Long Beach, California, but repping Mexico. So you've been waiting for this fight. You've been waiting for Regis to get a shot at the title.
Hey, the Rougarou came out and did his thing. Mm-hmm. That's exactly how you want to win your title.
Absolutely.
You know, no questions asked.
Absolutely.
He just came out and he did his thing. You know, he pretty much showed us the whole repertoire. You know, he was coming. You know, he had a good, strong jab. Mm-hmm. He was doubling the jab and sometimes even tripling up the jab. You know, he banged when there was he banged at times
when he could.
You know, you could tell like he felt like he wanted to make it, kind of make it a war.
Yeah.
Zepeda was more of a, he was more of a, more wanted a boxing match at times, and he was on the back foot, it was a good, exciting fight.
Did you think it went how you said it was gonna go?
Yeah, it went exactly how I thought it was gonna go. I mean, if you watch our prediction, I did predict the knockout.
Mm-hmm.
And I did say that one of the biggest punches that was going to be landed was going to be the overhand left. And if you watch the fight, the Rougarou was landing the overhand left a lot throughout the fight. I mean, what'd you think?
Yeah, we knew Regis was going to come out and show out. I just knew that for a fact. Every fight that he does, he comes out and he gives us his all, and he does what he does.
Yeah.
Zepeda, again, I said the way this fight can go on his run, it just depends on how he comes in, mentally ready for this fight. Mm-hmm. And at first, I think he thought, I'm gonna go in there and bang. If I had to, we make it a war. We're gonna take each other to hell.
Yeah.
However, I think, just like Regis said, people could talk about my power, but or whoop-de-whoop, but when you get in there and you feel my power, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Zepeda felt,
Definitely.
He came in, he looked pretty sharp in the first few rounds. He was boxing a lot more. And then I think when he felt Regis' power or tried to box a little, make it a little bit of a fight, he felt Regis' power, and I seemed like he backed off a lot and wasn't letting go of his hands as much as what I would expect for a championship fight. Now, I thought Regis looked great. I think he looked really good. He was, using his upper body, how we said, and he said that once he started doing that, Zepeda, it was hard for Zepeda to, even land a jab. It was just kind of going over the head. So he was doing a lot of good movement. Yeah. He had power. Again, from beginning to the end, he just looked strong the whole time. And it looked like any punch that he could throw, it was gonna hurt Zepeda, pretty bad. So
and we talked about their jab, the different jabs that they have in our prediction, and you could tell like the jab that Regis was throwing, it had some stank on it. Am I right?
Yeah,
it had some stank on it. But I will say this: Zepeda's jab was effective as well. He was able to land his jab on Regis. But the things, kind of like what you said, the upper body movement and the head movement did give him problems. And as the fight went on, it was harder and harder to land that jab. And if you know Zepeda likes to land that 1-2. And so when he has a hard time landing that jab, it's hard for him to, come with that backhand. He doesn't throw too many lead left hands. And I thought, while he's, measuring with that jab, Regis is, putting on the pressure and he's landing, he was throwing his lead left hand and overhand lefts all night. We talked about in the prediction, both fighters keep their hand low. And that was a big factor when it came to Regis landing that overhand left all night on Zepeda. The thing that Regis also did is, he was able to pick up the timing on Jose Zepeda's jab. So, there's times where he's landing the jab, and as soon as he landed the jab, you had Regis coming back with a counter over the top, overhand left over the top, and and also. And what that did is it made it hard for him to actually throw his left hand, because we were watching the fight and we were like, man, why wasn't Zepeda throwing? People were probably wondering why he wasn't throwing the left hand, and that's because every time that once he picked up on the timing, he was shooting it right over the top, and there was times where Regis even was willing to take a punch to the face, on a jab to throw his left hand.
Well, again, that's Regis' fight. He did say that he ended up, catching Zepeda, like, timing him with the movement, so he had to change his style a little bit. Zepeda kind of even made it look, his punches just look smooth and easy, because it didn't look like, and I know a lot of people say, he punches hard, because obviously he's got a lot of knockouts. So just when he punches, it doesn't look like it has a lot behind it, but everybody says that he got power. Even Regis, he's like, I can't scale it, but he was one of my toughest opponents, if not the tough opponent. And he does have power.
Yeah, he does have power, and he was able to land. Like I was talking about. He was able to land his jab. His jab was effective, and Regis is. I mean, both guys were taking some good punches.
Yeah,
Regis is for sure got a chin as well, because there was some. Zepeda did land some good shots. Some good lefts. It wasn't as many as he probably was anticipating, as Zepeda was anticipating, but he did land some good shots. And I think that speaks to what Regis was talking about when he was saying that he was a tough opponent.
Yeah, right.
Especially early on in the fight, because Regis was landing some big shots, especially in the in the third round. In the first 2 rounds, we were like, okay, kind of feeling each other out, but something turned Regis up in the third round, and he just took it to another level and pretty much never looked back.
Yeah, and but again, like I had said before, once you get in that ring with Regis, you can hear about his power, but once you feel his punches, it's probably like maybe he had Zepeda like, okay, I can't go into a brawl, I can't leave it all, on the floor, like, get into like a fight with him, like a street fight. But
a lot of people, even the commentators were asking for him to, make it a war. And, Regis, you could tell, like, every time he did land, like, a good shot on Regis was like, all right, let's fight. And he was coming, and, and he was coming with explode. As soon as Zepeda was landing, some good shots, Regis was coming back explosive.
But you know what? I would say from that, I think Zepeda had a little bit of success. I forgot in what round he came in. He started walking down Regis a little bit. And I feel like he had a little bit of success during that time. But then again, Regis is like, okay, we gonna fight. Let me step, into this fight, and then Zepeda would back off a little bit more. Yeah. And again, I think it had to do a lot with his power, and Zepeda always, saying like, he wants to make it through all the rounds, but of course, Regis got the knockout, 11th round.
Yeah, and the way he got it, we talked about the Zepeda one too, and that was the shot that actually Regis landed. He landed the 1-2 on Zepeda, which actually got him hurt. And we talked about in the prediction, when Regis gets you hurt, he gets you up out of there.
Yeah.
And that was exactly the case. As soon as he got him hurt, he jumped on him, and it was a wrap.
Yeah, and he looked great. And this is, on Regis' side, this is how you want to go out, especially fighting for a championship belt. Like, it's clean cut, clear. You won that. The ref should have stopped that fight. And he looked amazing. And congratulations to him.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the new champ.
Yeah.
He didn't want to call anybody out because he's been calling everybody out for like 3 years, I think he said. And now he got the belt, and he was like, I know everybody's gonna be calling for me. Now I'm gonna let them call out my name, since I've been calling everybody out.
Hopefully it's not like when other people become champions and then they still don't get called out. So like Devin Haney,
Regis, I think they're gonna call him out, because I forgot who it was on the press conference had said that he had got a text from Jose Ramirez already saying, tell Regis congratulations or whatever, and I hope to share the ring with him soon. So he gonna be getting a lot of calls, but he's a champ, so he gonna have to choose his best opponent. But with that being said, new champ in the 140 division. Who do you think he's gonna fight next?
Who do I think he's gonna fight next?
Or who do you want to see him fight next?
There's just so many. There's just so many. Fights that can be made at 140, especially right now. You got the up and coming. A lot of people talk about the 135s coming up, but we've always talked like, hey. A lot of people think it's gonna be sweet moving up to 140.
It's gonna be cute.
And they're gonna have to go through Regis, and Regis is a problem for any of those fighters. I feel like coming up, and the fighters who are already there. The Jose Ramirez. I would love to see that fight. People have been asking for that fight. Regis has been asking for that fight
for 5 years.
So I was excited to to hear Jose Ramirez say, that he would welcome the fight. But, we're going to have to wait to see if that gets made. The other fight, of course, I would love to see is the Josh Taylor fight.
I got to see that fight,
I got to see it again.
I got to see it again.
I definitely want to see that again. I think it'll be a different fight this time, but I would just love to see that fight again.
And Regis did say, man, if it's up to me, my number one is I want Josh Taylor. I think like he needs that rematch. We need that rematch.
Yeah, Josh Taylor has his fight coming up with Jack Catterall. So and that I mean, a lot of people thought Jack Catterall won that fight.
Right.
So let's see what happens on that fight. Is there any? There's so many 140. Why don't you throw another one out there?
There is. Gosh, we're just talking about like literally. There's so many there, but I know that with Jose Ramirez, since he was gonna be one of the ones that fought, it's crazy how it was actually be Jose Ramirez and Jose Zepeda, and Regis wasn't, but he came out the champion, which is crazy.
Yep. And yeah, kind of like what we talked about in the prediction. The fight was originally, like you said, supposed to be Jose Zepeda and Jose Ramirez, and Ramirez, he pulled out, because of getting married, and he said that he would have the winner. So hopefully, that still happens.
So I think that'll probably. I'm thinking that it'll be Jose Ramirez, which I would love to see, and I know it's going to be a different fight. So that fight's going to be really, really explosive. I know that, but I would love to see that fight. I would love to see Jose Ramirez against Regis, especially because they have history too. Regis is like, man, I've been calling him out for 5 years. He's been ducking for 5 years, so let's make it happen. I'm ready for that fight.
Yeah, so that that's a good fight. Another thing that
I gotta say they both lost their belts to Josh Taylor. So hey, put them in the ring together.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's make that happen. Especially prior to Regis, Prograis, and Josh Taylor, those were those three had the belts, and so it's only right for those two to go ahead and get in the ring. I'm gonna throw another one out there. We just recently saw Puello, the Dominican boxer, win a championship, and I wouldn't mind seeing that, in a unification. I think that would be good for Regis to kind of cement himself in 140 and really just make sure if anyone want to get a belt, they got to go through Regis, and I think that would be very strategic for him to do as well. With all these big fights that's probably going to be on the horizon, the more belts that Regis can get his hands on, the more leverage I think he would have, and so that's also a good option.
So who do we have right now in the 140 division? We have Josh Taylor that has 2 belts right now. And then you have Puello?
Yeah, Josh Taylor has 1 belt. So you got Puello has the other belt. Now you got Regis, who has the WBC. The IBF. The IBF is still vacant. I think Matthias is gonna fight for that. I believe in. He's a problem too.
Okay.
So that's kind of where the belts are. But I think that I wouldn't mind a unification either. If he can't get the Jose Ramirez fight or the Josh Taylor, I think that makes sense as well. Also, you got Tio is. You got Teofimo Lopez, who's ranked pretty high, also in the different sanctioning bodies.
There's so many, and then they have talked about him getting the winner of Ryan versus Tank. So there's so much, but just to kind of clean name is I want to see that Ramirez fight and Regis.
Yeah. So for the most part though, I would the Jose Ramirez or the Josh Taylor. Those are the two probably, huh?
Absolutely.
So,
although if I had to choose out of those two, I'd need that Josh Taylor rematch, just like him. That would be if he can get that done. Oh, I would love to see that.
Well, he said, he said Josh Taylor is at the top. Everyone knows he's at the top of his hit list. He needs that get back.
I get it. But Josh Taylor might go up after his last fight, but who knows? But if he had the choice. And it's gonna get done. Let's get that Josh Taylor rematch, and then let's jump into Ramirez after that. But
we're gonna see. But that's all we got. Let us know below, what you thought about the fight, or who you want to see Regis fight next. But that's all we got. So thanks for tuning in, y'all.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Or talk your shit. And we out.